Hello friends, welcome to the 18th day of our 100-day challenge for the Prelims 2018. We have so far covered the modern Indian history in our 10 challenges, and we are in continuation of our polity challenges, polity and Indian constitution. Today we are on the 8th challenge of our Indian polity and constitution. So in case if you want to revise the previous challenges, you can just watch the videos, download these contents from our website. These are absolutely free. We hope you benefit maximum from our this initiative, and we have already covered this modern Indian history. You can find these files on our website. So for today's topics for this Indian constitution and polity would be the particularly vulnerable tribal groups, PVTG, and the post of governor, Jammu and Kashmir, its provisions in the constitution, and the post of district judge, then the judicial review and the powers of high court in context of the judicial review, and then evolution of municipal governance, then the creation of separate national commissions for SCs and STs, tenure of the governor and the tribal welfare minister in the states, and the creation of state legislative council, whether there are what are the provisions regarding these in the constitution. So in case if you want to revise these 10 topics, you can pause the video, revise these topics, and then we'll continue with the MCQ. We hope that you have revised all these 10 topics. Now let's begin with today's challenge. The first MCQ is, which of the following are true about the characteristic of particularly vulnerable tribal groups? And what are these criteria for these kind of groups? And these are tribal groups, so they are subgroups under the scheduled tribes. So they have certain characteristics like zero or very negative population growth. So first option is says that they should have high population growth rate. This is absolutely wrong. They are vulnerable. That's why they will be having very slow, almost negative or zero growth population growth rate. And second, their system has to be pre-agricultural system. This is correct. Absence of a written language. This is also correct. So um, they are deprived of all these things like agriculture and modern amenities and written language. So only the criteria second and third is fulfilled for the definition of these tribal groups. So option would be B. And this particularly vulnerable tribal groups was a special class, and it was classified as such by the government of India due to their special low development indices. So it was in the fourth five-year planning, in which the Debar Commission in 1960 and 61, it recommended the further classification of these kind of tribal groups under a subgroup under the SC/ST. So for the better facilitation of their growth, as per on the par with other scheduled tribes on national scale, and help them include include in the mainstream development while using their indigenous knowledge. So there are certain characteristics with these particularly vulnerable tribal groups. These are four preconditions are there. That is, there has to be pre-agriculture system in existence, mostly the hunting or gathering, and then zero or negative population growth, which we have already discussed, very extremely low levels of literacy, and absence of any written language. So there are four criteria for particularly vulnerable tribal groups. These groups are vulnerable due to all these characteristics. Let's move on to the question number 2. Consider the following statements about the governor of state. His election process is similar to that of president. This option is very confusing and people make mistake that there is no provision of election of governor. Governor is appointed by the president. So wordings we have to be careful about them while reading the options. So first option is not correct because the governor is not elected but appointed by the president. Election Commission has no role in the matter of governor's rules. Obviously, if the governor is appointed by the president, the election commissions have no role. So obviously, the option would be second option is correct, while first is wrong. So the governor is neither directly elected by the people nor indirectly elected in the matters of president, as in the matter of president's election. Rather, the governor is appointed by the president under the warrant of and seal under his warrant and of hand seal. Hence, election commissions have no role in the appointment of the governor. This was one important question, and one important learning is that governor is not elected but is appointed by the president. Now let's move on to the question number third. Consider the following statements in context of the state of Jammu and Kashmir. So it has its own constitution, and we have already discussed the special provisions regarding the state of Jammu and Kashmir, the Article 370, and their special rights of residents, and what are the provisions regarding the whom are given the residence, and there in the state of Jammu Kashmir, what are the provisions regarding the residency and domicile. So this question is again in the continuation of the special status of Jammu and Kashmir. It has its own constitution. This is correct, and Urdu is the official language. So option second is English is official language is obviously wrong. So option would be A only. Let's move on to read the explanation. Jammu and Kashmir has its own constitution, and it was adopted on 17th November 1957. It declares Jammu and Kashmir to be integral part of India. It declares Urdu as its official language, so Urdu is its official language, not English. And however, there is a permission to use English language for the official purpose. So two languages are used in Jammu and Kashmir, that are Urdu as the official language and English as one of the alternatives. So let's move on to the question number 4. Which of the following is our? We have already discussed about the age schedule and the languages in the age schedule. For example, it would be good to recall that English is not part of the 22 languages specified in the Constitution, and there were 4 languages added by 92nd Amendment Act to the 8th schedule of Indian Constitution. So you should be recalling and revising all those things. Which of the following is true in context of district judge? He is appointed by the Chief Justice of High Court. He should have attained the age of 30 years. Both the options are incorrect because the district judge is appointed by the governor and not the Chief Justice of any High Court. So first option is incorrect, and the second option, he should have attained the age of. There is no prescription regarding the age limit for the appointment of the criteria of age. There is no criteria of age for the district judge. So obviously second is also wrong. Let's move on to the to read the explanation. As per the Article 233, appointment of person is to be and the posting and promotion of district judges to any state shall be made by the governor of the state in consultation with the High Court exercising jurisdiction in relation to such state. There is no minimum age limit for the appointment of district judge. So there is no age limit. You should be aware about this. This is one tricky option that can be asked, and this district state judge is appointed by the governor. Let's move on to the question number 5. Consider the following statements. High courts have the power of judicial review against any executive order of. Yes, there is provision under Article 13 and 226 that high courts are empowered to take judicial review of any executive order, and the term judicial review is explained in Article 226. However, this term judicial review is not mentioned in the Constitution. There are provisions that, for example, in Article 13, if we see that all those executive orders and laws, they will be deemed void if they are uh, not in uh, they are not in the uniformity with the fundamental rights. If they violate any fundamental right of the people, then any executive order or law that will be deemed as not valid. So that is the under the Article 13, and Article 226 we have already discussed that High Court has wider powers than Supreme Court to issue the writs regarding fundamental rights violation and any other such legal violations. So second option is not correct because the word judicial review is not mentioned. However, the first option is correct. So let's move on to read the explanation. Judicial review is the power of a high court to examine the constitutionality of legislative enactments and executive orders of both central and state governments by the provision of Article 13 and 226. However, the phrase judicial review has nowhere uh, been mentioned in the Constitution of India. Or then we are going to conduct all India full mock test series that will be available online, and it has around 200 seats for the classroom program as well. The fee is absolutely, we are charging no fee. So if you are in Delhi, please register for this test series that will be conducted from mid-April to May. So it is one of the good opportunities for you to test your preparation by this full mock test. 5 full mock tests will be providing along with the answer key and printed material. So if you are in Delhi, we are going to conduct it near Old Rajendra Nagar and Karol Bagh. What you have to do is you have to just mail your biodata on our email, or you can just contact us on the telephone number mentioned in the website for the further details about this All India full mock test series. And this is absolutely free of cost, both in the classroom and the online mode. Now let's move on to the question number 6. In year 1687, the first municipal corporation of India was set up at, it was the Madras. So these kind of factual questions can also be asked, where was this first evolution of municipal corporation was there. That was the Madras. And who was the Mughal emperor who gave the permission, the royal farman to British East India Company to conduct the, if anybody of you can recall, it was Emperor Jahangir who gave it to Sir Thomas Rio in 1608, I guess. So these kind of factual questions can also be asked. And the Municipal Corporation of Madras is the oldest in India. It was created by the Royal Charter issued in December 1687 by King James II. The corporation was really the brainchild of and chairman of East India Company, Sir Josiah Child. So these kind of factual information, where was this first municipal corporation was established? The answer would be Madras, and which is now Chennai. Which year the National Commission for SC and National Commission for STs came into existence as individual bodies? So it was a very recent of last decade. So happening, after which there was an constitutional amendment, and there was a separate article insertion, that is 338A, for the separate commission of scheduled tribes also. So this was the time when these SC/ST national commissions were divided into two, and they were formulated as National Commission for Scheduled Caste and National Commission for Scheduled Tribes, two different commissions. And in case if UPSC asks which of these following commissions are constitutional, so these commissions are constitutional because they are mentioned in the articles of constitution. So let's read the explanation. The first commission for scheduled castes and scheduled tribes was set up in 78, and with the 4 members and a chairman, Bola Paswan Sastri. And in 1990, the caste, the Commission for SC/STs was renamed as National Commission. So National Commission for SCs and STs, and were found in 1987. But under the Article 338 and 338A respectively, the National Commissions for SCs and STs came into existence as individual bodies in year 2004. They consisted of a chairperson, vice person, and other 3 members. So there are totally 5 members in these commissions. One is chairperson, other is vice person, and 3 other eminent members. Now let's move on to question number 8. Which of the following is true regarding the tenure of governor? He cannot be reappointed as the governor after completion of the term. This is not true. Anybody can be appointed any number of times. So this option is obviously not true. President can transfer a governor from one state to another. Yes, it is the power of president, and these things are mentioned in Article 169, I guess. Uh, Article 153 and onwards. So these provisions are mentioned in there. The option would be, so first option is not correct, that is they are liable for reappointment. Now let's read the explanation. The president may transfer a governor appointed to one state to another state for the rest of the term. Further, the governor whose term has expired may be reappointed in the same state or any other state. So Article 153, 54, these deal with the provisions of governor of state, and there shall be a governor, and provided that nothing in this article shall prevent appointment of a same person as governor of two or more states. So a person can be appointed governor of two or more states. So let's move on to question number 9. Consider the following statements about the creation of state legislative councils. We have discussed about the provisions of constitution in which there can be changes in the constitution, but they are not deemed as the constitutional amendment. So this kind of creation of state legislative assembly, that will change the provisions of constitution, but that will not be deemed as the constitutional amendment. So first option is it needs a special majority resolution from the state assembly concerned. Yes, this is true. Although the changes are done by the Parliament of India, but that concerned state has to pass the bill with a special majority. That is absolute plus a special majority. And option is after the resolution by the state assembly, it is on the president to create the state legislative council. No president has to give the assent. Once this resolution is passed and the parliament also approves, so it is on the president to sign the assent. So the option would be A only. The power of abolition and creation of state legislative council is vested in the Parliament of India as per Article 169. But again, the creation or the abolish or to abolish the state legislative council, the state legislative assembly must pass a resolution which is to be supported by majority of the strength of the house and two-thirds of the present and voting, absolute plus special majority. When the when a legislative council is created or abolished, the constitution of India also changed, but such type of law is not considered. So these kind of, they will change the nomenclature in the constitution, but they are not considered the constitutional amendment act, the constitutional amendment under the article 368. They will not be considered. They are just some kind of changes in the nomenclature. The resolution to create or abolish a state legislative council is to be assented by the president also. So that concludes the 9 questions. This is the last question of today. Which of the following state is not obligated to have tribal welfare ministry? So after the 94th amendment, the state of Bihar was freed from having a tribal welfare ministers, while all the other states, they have significant tribal populations and they are required to have tribal welfare ministers. So option would be D. There should be a tribal welfare minister in Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh, Jharkhand, and Odisha. Originally, this provision was applicable to Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, Odisha, but after 94th Amendment, Bihar was freed from the obligation of having a tribal minister. So these states are Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh, Jharkhand, and Odisha. So you should remember these 4 states in case if they are asking you such questions of factual importance as to which states are obligated to have a tribal welfare minister. Well, friends, this was all about today's 10 MCQ challenges. We hope you enjoyed this and benefited from our challenges. Stay tuned for more such challenges on the polity and Indian Constitution. Have a good day.